everyone, welcome to the lecture number 53 of this NPTEL lecture series on charging infrastructure, and we will continue our discussion on the DC charging system using the CCS2 charger plug. So in that till now we have discussed about different charging sequences of the CCS2 charging system, and then after that we have seen the slack procedure which is used to logically connect the PLC modems of EV and EVSE, which are actually making the physical connection. That is needed because in case when we have the charging station where multiple EVSEs and multiple EVs are actually there, so one must ensure that those PLC modems of EV and EVSE must be connected, which are actually physically connected with each other. That means there should not be the case when the PLC modem of EV is communicating with the PLC modem of other EVSE rather than communicating with the PLC modem of the connected EVSE. That is ensured by doing the slack procedure, which actually measures the attenuation between the PLC modems, and those PLC modems goes for logical connection which are having the least attenuation. And obviously whenever in the charging station where the EVSEs are placed at certain distances, so the least attenuation will be there between those PLC modems which are very much near to each other, and it will be nothing but those PLC modems which are actually being physically connected to each other, and they are actually being placed very much near to each other. So that is why this slack procedure ensures that correct PLC modem of EV and EVSE are connected, those PLC modem where the actual EV and EVSEs are making physical connection. So that is why the slack procedures are needed, and this will actually be constitute to the data link layer of the 7OSI layer model, which we will see in this particular lecture. Now in this slack procedure, once the slack procedure is been done, the PLC modems are logically connected, one can do the high level communication between those PLC modems. Now whenever the charging is taking place between the DC VSC and the EV, there a lot of information need to be shared between EV and EVSE, and those informations are being shared using the high level communication, which is actually be done using 7OSI layer. So let us see that. So we have seen that the CCS2 high level communication happens over the PLC communication on these CP and PE lines, which are logically connected. I mean those PL modems whose modems are logically connected, whose modems are logically connected. So once the PLC modems are logically connected, they are ready to do the high level communication. Now in the high level communication, it is actually been used to send or receive different charging parameters such as voltage, current, different informations like SOC, temperature, state of health, and the charging time, and different other information which is being shared whenever the DC VSC is being connected to EV. I mean whenever the CCS2 charging is been taking place. Now these messages whatever are there between the EV and EVSE are exchanged using the 7OSI layer, which is open system interconnection model or layer model, which is actually being used to perform the data transfer between the two computers connected via network. So whenever the two computers are connected to each other, they will be communicating with each other following this 7OSI layer model, and each messages which are being shared between EV and EVSE, they will be following the OSI layers, which is nothing but the set of protocols. It will be following those OSI layer model, and it will start with the physical connection and proceed to step by step going up to the application or going up to the control application. So in each message which is been sent between EV and EVSE will be following this 7OSI layer model. So let us first understand what is 7OSI layer, because once we know what are 7OSI layer, after that it will be easier for us to understand how the high level communication will be taken place in the CCS2 charging system. Now in this thing what we have is this 7OSI layer is nothing but consists of 7 layers, and each layer is basically comprises of some package of protocols which are actually been needed to perform the specific operation. So, these 7 OSI layer models are basically having the 7 layers, and each layer will be consisting of certain protocol packages which are actually being needed to perform specific operation in order to ensure the successful communication between the computers which are having a different architecture or which are connected across different networks. So, if you look at the 7 OSI layer which is being stabilized by the ISO in 1984, it comprises of 7 layers which starts with the application layer. Again here we are talking about from the system which is actually transmitting the information. So, from the application layer we have the second layer which is nothing but the presentation layer. After the presentation layer we have the session layer. After the session layer we have the transport layer. After the transport layer we have the network layer. After the network layer we have the data link layer, and after the data link layer we have the physical layer. Now, as we have told that each layer is basically consists of several sets of protocols, and those protocols is basically are being used to actually perform the specific functionality whenever the two computer systems are actually doing the communication. So, whenever the two computer system does the communication, a lot of work need to be done, and those work is being done following certain protocols in order to ensure the interoperability. Those works are done following certain protocols, and those protocols are packed together in different layers, and those layers are mentioned over here. So, let us first understand in the simplest term, whenever the two computers are getting connected, how the data transfer has been taken place. They could be having the different architecture, that means different OS or operating system. They could be connected in different networks, in different countries, in different regions. So, how those things are being taken place, let us discuss in brief, because that will make us understand what are the protocols in each layer does, and how they actually help in ensuring the successful communication between the two computers which are being connected together or which are being doing the data transfer with each other. So, in 7 OSI layer, the first layer is nothing but our application layer. Now, as the name suggests, the application layer will have some of the protocols which actually been used by the network applications. Network applications are those applications in the computer which actually uses internet to do the communications, just like your web browser. I am taking a simplest example, just like your web browser. So, the web browser uses certain sets of protocols to actually perform the user activity. For example, if you are searching certain website using required web address, when you are doing the web surfing, so network application will be using the protocols like HTTP or HTTPS protocol. So, whenever one is doing web surfing, you will do using HTTP or HTTPS protocol. Similarly, there could be that file transfer between the two systems which will be taken place, and that file transfer need to be done using file FTP protocol, which is file transfer protocol. So, this application layer consists of the protocols which will be used by the network applications to actually perform required user activity. So, consist of protocols which is being used by the network application. Now, what are those network applications? The computer application which uses internet or other communications used by the network application to perform required user activity. So, for example, if the user is doing the web surfing, it is the HTTP and HTTPS protocol which is being followed. If the user is doing the file transfer between the two systems, that it is a FTP protocol which is being using. So, different network applications like web browser, your email applications. So that is the actual purpose of the application layer. So it's the user who will be interacting with the network application, and network application will be following certain protocol in order to understand what the user is doing. Now after the application layer comes the presentation layer. So let us say once the user is doing web surfing or they have entered some of their data, those data will be in that form of your characters and numbers, and those characters and number need to be converted into the form which is been understood by the computer or by the system which is actually be using those data. So presentation layer does basically three functionality, which is translation, converts the user understanding language to the machine understanding language. After the translation, they will do the data compression, where they compress the data in such a manner that, because a lot of data need to be exchanged between the two systems, so the data compression will help in doing the fast transmission of the data. So data compression will be taking place, removing the redundant informations, and then after the data compression, it will be, if the sender is doing, it is the encryption, just to ensure that the data is being presented to other layer or to other sets of protocol which is in a required manner. So it will be in encryption, or on the receiver side it will be decryption which will be taking place. Now however, to perform this functionality, there will be several protocols which will be used, and those protocols will actually form the presentation layer. As the name suggests, it converts application layer data into the machine understandable form, or presented the data in the machine understandable format, and on the receiver side it is the vice versa. That means it will represent the data in such a way that the user will be able to understand that data. So it performs the three functionalities, which is translation, data compression and encryption decryption. That means presenting or representing the data into certain format which will be understandable by the machine in the transmitter side, and on the receiver side it will be understandable by the user. So that is the actually work of presentation. After the presentation layer, you have the session layer. Now the session layer actually used to set up the session between the two systems. So whenever the two computers are actually communicating with each other, you have to first start the session between them, then only one can do the data transfer. So it is like the protocols in this layer will help to set up the session between the two systems over different networks, and that is when the communication will be taken place. So it basically does three particular functionality. First is authentication. That means, for example, if let us say if user is accessing his Gmail, so once it will enter the password, try to reach that particular server, has to authenticate that this is the correct user, and that is coming under the authentication. And once the authentication is been done, it is the server which will decide to what level we should give the authorization. So this is also been done using the protocol defined in the session layer itself. And then after the authorization, it manages the session management. So session management, like it keeps track of the files which is being transferred between server and the computer, or the between the two computer system. So it will also does that session management as well. Generally these three layer are, you can say, are done by the network application, and then comes your next layer, which is nothing but called as a transport layer. So the user has entered the information using the application layer, then it will represent it in a certain form in the machine understandable format. Then the session is been created between the two systems where the communication has to be taking place, and then finally we enter into the transport layer, where which does actually segmentation. That means the data which are there is being divided into several segments, and then it will also take care of the flow control and then the error control. So in this thing, what happens is that in the segmentation layer, the data which is been there will be actually be broken into several segments. So let us say this is segment 1, example segment 2 and segment 3. Now in this segment, what you have is, along with the data, you also have the sequence number and the port number. So, sequence number and the port number, sequence number and the port number. Now, the sequence number is been used in the receiver side, it is been used to reassemble the segments to obtain the required data. So, that is why the sequence number are been added to each segments, and the port number indicates to which network application it should be routed to. So, that has the port number information. Then after that, once the segmentation is been done, this layer is also responsible for ensuring that when the two systems are actually getting connected and they are doing the communication with each other, they must do the communication at the same rate. For example, let us say if this is a sender and this is a receiver. For example, let us say sender could be your computer and receiver could be the server which will be sitting at some network at a very far place. So, whenever the sender is sending the messages to receiver, let us say sender could able to send with 1 Mbps of data, however the receiver can able to accept 10 Mbps of data. So, now obviously there is a mismatch between the communication, between data rates. So, that is when the message will be sent to receiver to change your 10 Mbps receiving rate to 1 Mbps receiving rate, and that is when the flow control is being ensured. So, that is when the loss of data can be avoided. Similarly, the other way around could also be done. Let us say if the sender is sending with 10 Mbps, however the receiver could able to receive only 1 Mbps, then the sender will be asked to actually reduce its sending rate to 1 Mbps such that the data rate is being ensured. And then finally at last we have error control, which actually includes mechanism for error checking and retransmission of lost data. So, thus the transport layer contains protocols which provides fast, reliable, error check data transmission. Again, we are not going too much in detail. So, we are just keeping briefly to understand how this layers works. So, this layer is having this particular protocol which will be doing these three functionality all together. After this layer comes the next layer, which is nothing but our network layer. Now, in the network layer, it particularly does the logical addressing, routing and path determining. In case of logical addressing, which will be done in this layer, following a certain protocol like IPv6 or IPv4, depending upon which protocol is been followed. So, here it will be done IP addressing, then masking which is been done, like to ensure to which network it should be connected to. So, that is what the masking is been done. So, in this case, along with this, one also has to ensure the routing. So, the masking and IP addressing will actually ensure that to which network the data is to be routed to, and then after routing is been done, it is the path determination, because let us say if you wanted to do communication with some server which is sitting in some different region. So, the message has to be sent by different networks. Maybe let us say you are sending the message from your home Wi-Fi, it will go to the router, from the router it goes into the other network, maybe to different countries, maybe to different region, to reach to that particular server. Now, during that thing there could be many paths which it could follow. So, this particular network layer will determine shortest path to be taken, again following certain protocols. Now, in this case the most important thing is the IP addressing, logical addressing which has been done. So, in this case, since the data which has been there, which has been segmented in the transport layer, will then be sent, these segments will then be sent, let us say this is a data segment, will then be sent to the network layer, and in the network layer the IP addresses will be appended with IP address of sender and IP address of receiver. So, IP address of sender and IP address of receiver. Now this IP address is important because this IP address will now determine to which network it should connect to, and it will also determine in the network to which computer it should connect to, because in the particular network there could be several computers which are being connected. For example, let us say assume you are staying in some big colony, and in colony you have hundreds of homes, and each home has one computer. So the IP address will determine that you have to connect to that colony network, and in that network it will determine to which computer it should be connected to. The segment which you obtain from the transport layer will then be augmented with the IP addresses of the sender and receiver, and that will form the IP packet. So from the data it is been converted into segments, from the segments it is been converted into IP packets, and then this IP packet will comprises of the segment, which is again some portion or some small part of the data with the IP address of the sender and IP address of the receiver. And then this particular thing will be actually routed, and that routing is being understood by once the masking is been defined, where the masking defines to which network it should connect to, which will be defined by this routing. So after the network layer, once you obtain the IP packets, it will be then sent to the data link layer. Now we have done the logical addressing, because logical addressing will define to which network it should connect to, how it should be routed to, and different masking is been defined. Now after this thing, they will also define the physical addressing. So there are two type of addressing, one is logical addressing, another one is the physical addressing, and this physical addressing is been done by the data link layer, and it also controls how the data is being placed and or taken from the physical medium. What I mean by that is, the first and foremost thing is physical addressing. Now you take any system which has to be connected to the network, so that particular system will have the network interface card, and that particular network interface card has the physical addressing called as the MAC addressing, which is media access control address. Now this address is the unique address which will be given to each network interface card which is been placed in your device which will be connected to your network. For example, your mobile has one MAC address, your computer which is being connected to network has one MAC address which has been there in the network interface card, and this MAC address is basically the physical address. It is very unique number, and once the network interface card is being incorporated in your system, that MAC address card will now be the MAC address of the system in which it is being incorporated. Now this MAC address is nothing but it is a 12 digit alphanumeric number, and it is been embedded in your network interface card. Let us say if you are having our EVSE which will also have the network interface card, that network interface card will have the MAC address, and that is a physical address. It will not going to get changed in the entire lifetime or until that network interface card is there in that EVSE. The IP address can change because the EVSE may be connected to different networks, maybe EV can be going to different charging stations and will be connected to different networks. So the IP address may change, but the MAC addresses will remain be the same for EV, and similarly for EVSE it will be fixed MAC address, it is not gonna change, and every EV and EVSE will have its own unique MAC addresses. So in this particular layer, the IP packet which we will receive, which has the IP addresses of sender and the receiver, after this IP packet you will generate actually frames. So in the frames you have IP address, and that will be appended with MAC address 1, MAC address 2, which is MAC address of sender and MAC address of receiver, or MAC address of sender, or you can say that MAC address of sender or source and MAC address receiver or destination. Similarly, here also sender or source, receiving receiver or destination. So that MAC address will be there, and this will actually, along with this frame, there will be something will be added at the tail part of this frame, which actually nothing but the things related to error control. And this particular setup, this entire particular setup is called as the frames. So from the data it goes to segment in transport layer, from the segment goes to IP packet in the network layer, from the IP packet it goes to the frames in the data link layer, which has the MAC addresses of the source and the destination is being appended, along with some error control codes which will be added at the tail side. So this is the main functionality of data linker, which will defining the physical addressing to this IP packet. Along with this data link layer will also control how the data is been placed or taken from the physical medium. So physical medium, if you talk about here media access, if I am talking about media access, this media I am talking about is the physical media, which is actually which is nothing but optical fiber is one physical media, the copper wire is another physical media, air is another physical media where the Wi-Fi communication will be taken place. So these are the different physical media, and this data has to be placed in that physical media to actually be transported to the destination through that physical media. So how this will be added, because let us say more than one computer is been accessing the same media, so one has to ensure that particular data is not getting corrupted, one after the other they will be accessing that particular media. So that will also be ensured by the protocol mentioned in the data link layer. However, in EV and EVSE, since there are only two nodes whenever the EV and EVSE are connected, so the main important functionality of this layer will be defining this physical addressing and ensuring that the two PLC modems are properly connected. Or you can say at this point only we have the logical connection, physical logical connection, which is being set up. Then after that comes the last layer, which is called as the physical layer. Now as the name suggests, it carries or it contains all the protocols which will be used to define how the data has been pushed into the physical media, what will be the voltage levels, what will be the frequency, different parameters of the physical media will be defined in this, which are being packaged in this particular layer. So in this physical layer, so from the data we converted into segments, from the segmented after augmentation of the IP addresses of source and destination, we get the IP packet. From the IP packet we will add the MAC addresses of the sender and receiver, that will actually form the frames, and after the frames it will be converted into bits of information which will be in the terms of 0, 1, 1, in some fraction it will be there. So that will be the bits of information which will be logic level 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. The frames will be in the form of bits, that bits will be converted into signals, that logic levels will be converted into signals and then will be sent to the physical media. So here in this case we have several signals. For example, in case of air we have radio signals. So this layer will define what will be the frequency range, the strength of signals, signal to noise ratio, different things will be defined. In case of, this is the Wi-Fi communication we are talking about. In case of physical copper wire or you can say LAN, in case of that we have the electrical signals, that means in the form of voltage and the current in terms of that. In case of optical fiber it will be the light, which will be light signal which will be present. So over the physical media the signals will be sent and that signals will be representation of the bits which is obtained from the frames, and that signals will be sent over the physical media. So, this physical layer will consist of the protocol which will define that particular information related to that physical layer. So, this is the case in the sender side. On the receiver side, if we take the receiver side, on the this is the sender side, on the receiver side the same thing will happen in the reverse manner. So, signals is been sent, on the other side the signals is been received, it will be then converted into bits of information. From the bit of information it will be converted into frames using the data link layer protocol. From the frames it will be converted into the packets, IP packets using the network layer protocols. From the packet it will be converted into segments. The segments will be extracted using the transport layer protocol, and then the segments will be reassembled together using the transport layer protocol, and it will be converted into the real data in the machine understandable format, and then it will be converted into the user understandable data in the presentation layer, and then it will be presented in front of the receiver. So, the same thing is doing in the reverse manner on the receiver side. That means it goes from the physical layer to the data link layer to the network layer to the transport layer. Then from the transport layer you have the session layer, and then session layer it will be converted into the understandable data, user understandable data format using the presentation layer, and then it will be shown to the user using the application layer protocols. This is how the actual communication which will be taking place between the two systems connected over different networks. If we take one example, assume we have let us say computer 1 which has been connected via wire to the network 1, and through the network 1 it will be connected to let us say network 2 using the satellite link. It will be connected here through the wire, and from the network 2 it will be connected to, assume, using the Wi-Fi link, it will be connected to the computer 2. So, here what we have is, we have our frame. In the frame we have IP packet, and in the IP packet we have the MAC addresses at the header and tail, which will be some error correction code. It will be sent through the, let us say this is a router, to the router. Both routers are there. In this router the IP packet will be extracted, and again the new H1 and T1 will be, S2, and tail has been added. Now in this H1 is nothing but MAC of C1, because that is the sender, and the destination is MAC of N1, and here it will be MAC of MAC of N1, and receiver will be MAC of N2. However, the IP will not gonna change. On this router at the network 2, we will again extract the IP packet. From the IP packet your H3 and then T3 will be added, where H3 comprises of MAC of sender, which is N2, and here it is MAC of C2, and in this place again it will be extracted, IP will be extracted, and once the IP will be extracted, from this one the segment will be extracted, and from this one different segmenters will be added to actually form the data, and which is being shown to the user. So, this is how the MAC addresses and the logical addressing is been used to send the different data between the two computers connected at different networks over the different channels. Now, in case of CCS2, if we see, let us define our CCS2 this thing, where we have physical layer, we have data link layer, we have network layer. Again this is layer 1, we can say, layer 2, layer 3. From the network layer we have our transport layer, same as our this thing layer 4, transport to session which is layer 5, session to presentation, and presentation to application. Now this is let's say layer 6 and layer 7. Since we told that it consists of several protocols, all these things will be defined in ISO 15118-1 and ISO 15118-2 standards. All these things will be technical description of the protocols, different requirements of different layers, general information, all those things will be incorporated in ISO 15118. However, some of the cases are there where which is this one is up to. So this has been defined in ISO 15118 with -1 consists of general information and different general requirements, and then the physical and the data link layer. If we take the physical and data link layer, for physical and data link layer what we have is we have defined the information in 15118-3 standard where these protocols has been defined for the layer 1 and layer 2. From this layer to this top layer we have defined in ISO 15118-2 where it carries all the technical information of those layers. However, individual layers they are actually derived, this which has been included in ISO 15118 has been derived from different protocols. For example, network layer protocol will be defined by internet protocol IP, our ICMP which is nothing but internet protocol, ICMP which is internet control message protocol, and then if we talk about transport layer, the transport layer will be following the standard like UDP, user UDP, user datagram protocol. Again, I am not going into those protocols, and it will also have the TCP protocol which is nothing but transmission control protocol. So different protocols will be defined which will be derived from these protocols and be included in ISO 15118-2. Then the session layer will actually be having vehicle to grid session layer protocol, and the presentation layer is actually will be consist of XML or EXI based protocol where the data is been represented using the extended markup language or the efficient extensible markup language. So we can say XMI which is extensible markup language, and EXI is efficient XML interchange. So this is the way by which the data is been represented in this presentation layer following this protocol. And then finally the application layer which has the protocol like V2G application layer, then you have SDP protocol where SDP is nothing but SECC, supply equipment communication controller discovery protocol. So those protocol will be defined in the different OSI layer models of the CCS2. I mean they are included in the ISO 15118-2, but they are derived from these particular protocols. So let us see one by one how the high level communication in case of CCS2 takes place using the 7 OSI layers. Now let us see first layer which is a physical layer. So in physical layer the initial condition, that means the condition before the protocol correspond to this layer is been implemented, is that the protective earth and control palette lines are connected, that means the charger plug is been plugged in, the PWM of 3 to 7% is been initiated onto the control palette and the protective earth, that means the charging stage is in the B2 state. And on both the sides, that means on EV and EVSE, we have home plug green PHY compatible based modems. And the protocol corresponds to this physical layer, which actually performs the function which is it stabilizes the physical link on the protective earth and control palette lines to the opposite side. Opposite side means, I mean, if for the EV it will be EVSE, for the EVSE it will be EV. So the protocol corresponds to this particular layer, ensures the physical links to be made between the EV and EVSE. And the result of this is the PLC modem on either side, that means on the EV and the EVSE side, is ready for communication with a stabilized frequency band of 2 MHz to 28 MHz. Now this particular layer ensures the start of the physical connection to provide the data transfer between the EV and EVSE. Now in this case the data transfer is bidirectional, that means the data can be initiated from the EV to EVSE or from EVSE to EV. And the protocols which are there is actually defines the physical property of the physical media, that means the wires which is connected between control palette and the protective earth or on either sides, and those properties are such as the voltage levels and the frequency band. Now comes the layer 2, which is the data link layer. Before coming to the data link layer, the precondition, or you can say the initial condition, is nothing but that the physical layer is properly stabilized. That means the physical layer protocol is successfully implemented, and then in this particular layer the configuration of PLC nodes will be taking place. So PLC nodes means, you have the EV and EVSE nodes will be taking place. One of the important thing which takes place in this particular layer is that the signal level attenuation characterization procedure is been done, and after the signal level attenuation characterization procedure, the logical connection is been set up between the two PLC modem. Logical connection means the PLC modem can now do the communication between each other. So the outcome of this will be the stabilization of the communication link, that means the logical connection of the PLC modems are being done following the protocols which are included in the data link layer. So this layer ensures an error free transfer of data frames from one node to the another node over the physical media, and this particular layer is responsible to perform the SLAC procedure. All the information related to SLAC procedure are defined in the protocol which is included in the data link layer. Then comes your network layer. Before coming to network layer, the initial condition will be that the data link layer protocols have been successfully implemented, and the protocol in this particular layer will actually be responsible to implement Internet Protocol version 6 to actually assign the IP addressing, or you can say the protocol present in this particular layer is responsible to do the logical addressing, or you can say IP addressing, and it ensures the unique addresses among the nodes which are being communicating with each other. That means unique addresses to the PLC modem of EV, PLC modem of EVSE, the supply equipment, communication controller, all those things can be defined with the unique IP addresses. And in this particular thing, the IP addressing of the nodes are done using the SLAAC procedure, or you can say SLAC procedure. At the same time, the protocol in this particular layer is actually do the implementation of ICMP version 6 to send the error messages, which is nothing but Internet Control Message Protocol. That means when the error messages are sent, they are sent using the Internet Control Message Protocol version 6, and when the normal messages are being sent, they are sent using the IPv6 Internet Protocol standard. And the outcome of this will be all the nodes which will be responsible to do the communication obtains the valid IP addresses. Now this is the important thing, because that will define the logical addressing of the different nodes, that means the IP addressing of the different nodes. Here the nodes means all the controller which are doing communication in the EV as well as in the EVSE. So all those nodes which are there, you also have the supply equipment, communication controller, you also have EV communication controller. So all those things should also retrieve or achieve the valid IP addresses. And then finally, what this particular layer does, it actually controls the routing of connections which decides the path for the data which it should take. That means it actually defines the logical addressing, and once the logical addressing has been defined, it will also define what will be the path determination of the data to which it should take to reach from the source to the destination. So, that is what the protocols in this particular layer does that. So, we have seen the 3 OSI layer, and we have understood different OSI layer, and then we are just seeing the 3 OSI layer what it does, particularly in case of high level communication of the CCS2, how what this layer actually performs the particular task that we have defined over here, and we will continue our further discussion on different layers in the next lecture. Thank you very much for patiently listening to this lecture, and we will see you in the next lecture following our further discussions.